everybody, and welcome again to Consciousness Rising Zimbabwe and Beyond. My name is Tania Norris. I'll be your host today. And on this platform, we do talk a lot about consciousness, spirituality, healing, energy healing. And if you're into all those kind of things, then we've got a real treat for you today, because I'm joined with Diana Collins-Smith from Cape Town. Hi, Diana. Welcome back.
Hi, Tania. Lovely to be here. Thank you.
No, thank you. Anyway, let me just explain to everybody, Diana, who you are, and then we'll get into it. So, Diana, you are a practitioner of energy medicine and a spiritual and vibrational teacher. You're based in Cape Town, South Africa, where you do healing retreats and tours to sacred sites in and around South Africa several times a year. You offer healings, channeled readings, and energy clearing via Zoom to clients all around the world. And you also represent an organization called Hidden Mind and Bioenergy Institute, which is from Europe. So that's all very, and you're going to let us know what that is all about. But more importantly, I just want to say to everybody right at the beginning is that Diana is coming to Zimbabwe. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that and giving you those dates. So, Diana, where do we start? Where do we start? Explain to us maybe a little bit about the work that you do and the work that you're going to be doing when you come and visit us.
Okay. Well, I've been doing this work for probably over 30 years, 35 years. And I'm sure you know, Tania, as you do this work, so it evolves and more gifts come in, and you work much more intuitively with what needs to be done. And as we're going through these very auspicious times, very auspicious energies, we have to adapt our treatments to what's needed at that time. I write a regular column for Odyssey magazine called The Earth Custodian. I'm very passionate about earth energies, and that's also been coming up in the last few years, that we need to clear the land energy in Africa. Well, Africa is my passion, but the world. So I've been doing that for a few years, and that's how the Sacred Sites tours came about, because many people wanted to go to these sacred sites, because these sacred sites are awakening on the planet. So my main reason to come home, because I am a Zimbabwean, is to do some land healing, which we came back to do last April 2021. And it was absolutely fabulous. The earth energies in Zimbabwe are just off the charts, such a beautiful country. And again, it's awakening. So it's about picking up the keys and codes that we probably left in places from past lives, and clearing the ley lines, and releasing trauma. The same as what we do with healing of humans and animals, the earth also needs her trauma to be released. So we went on a wonderful trip with Paula Warswick and Mary, and we went to some very significant sites and did some amazing work. So when we do this work, we're never quite sure what's going to transpire, because we're very much just vessels to bring in those energies. And we had some pretty remarkable experiences, and were blown away by what we found in these places, and wanted to come back for more. So hence my trip in August.
So it'll be quite interesting to see how you feel into that, if it's different than the first time that you came, or the last time that you came.
Yeah. Well, this time I work very closely with the Ascended Masters, and I was told by Master Afra that I needed to come back for the Lion's Gate, the 8th of the 8th. There's a portal that needs to be opened on the 8th of the 8th. And that's how the whole thing evolved. But I was told that several months ago. It's only in the last couple of weeks that this trip's actually really starting to land now. And it's all just flowing into place, as these things do. So while I'm there, while I'm in Bulawayo and while I'm in Harare, I would very much like to meet all these wonderful people that I met the last time, and hopefully more, and offer readings, treatments, energy clearings. I'm doing a lot of energy clearings for the last 9 months or so. It seems to be the predominant thing that I'm asked to do, because it seems to be people are needing to move forward in their journey. And I represent the hidden mind and bioenergy in Africa. So I thought it might be nice to teach bioenergy level 1. It's a very beautiful, powerful energy healing modality that I learned from the master in Ireland, Tom Griffin, I call him the wizard because he's just such a magical man. And it is an energy healing modality that can be used by everybody. So whether you want to just learn to treat yourself or to treat family members, if you've got a child or a husband or something that's ill, elderly people, everybody benefits from energy. And the beauty about bioenergy is that it's very different from other healing modalities in that it's all about taking the energy out. So all the techniques, the handholds, etc., are about releasing the old energy to allow the new life force energy to flow in. And we've had the most remarkable results with bioenergy. People make massive shifts. So level 1 is very much about learning the hand movements, how the process works, to be able to work on friends and family. And then if there is an interest, I'll come back to teach level 2 and then level 3. And that you qualify when you successfully finish level 3, you qualify with a European diploma from the Hidden Mind Institute, which then allows you to be able to work as a therapist in countries in Europe and in North America, where they're quite sticky about your credentials and you have to have insurance before you can start practicing. And that brings you up to therapist level, where you can start charging for treatments, etc. So along with bioenergy, sorry.
So I just wanted to ask you, so that was one of my questions, actually, the level 1 that you're going to be teaching when you come. It's not just for practitioners who might want to use that, incorporate that in their toolkits. It's also just for the general public to use.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Super.
If you have interest in healing.
Yes. Okay. So anyway, carry on.
What I was about to say was that I teach Qigong with bioenergy, because bioenergy is based on Qigong. Qigong is a very ancient martial art, and Qigong is about the internalization of energy, whereas Tai Chi, for instance, is the externalization of energy. So we work very much with the organs and the systems of the body to make us aware and to send healing and light and frequency to those particular areas of the body to increase the life force energy within the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, the heart, whatever it is that we're working with. So it's very cathartic. If somebody has a pre-existing condition, for instance, they can actually treat themselves with this. It's very powerful and very ancient. So there's nothing new on this earth. It's just bringing back the old.
What do you use as a divining method or tools to find out exactly what is the problem that you're dealing with?
Well, that's the beauty of bioenergy. There is no divining method. There's no hoo-hoo stuff. It's very logical, and most people after the first weekend are able to feel the energy in their hands. So a lot of the Qigong exercises that I teach in level 1 are about activating the energy in the hands and the brow. And then once they start using the different techniques in and around their partner's body, because there's work that they do on each other, they start to feel the shifts, and people will start to move forward involuntary and move backwards as somebody's pulling on their energy, but they're actually not touching them.
Okay.
So it helps to demonstrate that it's not everything that you can see.
Because you know,
there's an electrical field around our bodies, and what we're doing is we're actually connecting into that electrical field, and we are removing the old.
Okie dokie. Because you know, a lot of normal other healing modalities, you might use a pendulum or kinesiology or something like that to find out what is the issue that we're dealing with here. So I just wondered if you obviously don't use anything like that. When people come for healing for a session, or you're going to heal somebody, you don't necessarily have to divine to find out, oh, you know, you've got trapped emotions in your liver, for argument's sake.
No, with the hidden mind, we use kinesiology.
Okay.
We so it's the hidden mind. Bioenergy is quite simple. It's a bit like Reiki, where we, you know, you use all these different techniques. You start to feel the energy in your hands. You start to intuit it in your third eye, and you just seem to know where to work and how to pull away. It's very gentle too for children and animals and the elderly. Whereas with the hidden mind, it is a much more intensive course. There's a lot more physiology and anatomy, kinesiology, and feeling into the statements that we use based on quantum science that we make to the subconscious mind of the patient to find where the trauma is in the body and what created it and when it was created. The more detail we can get, the more profound the shift is when we do the final correction, which we use sacred sounds, which are recorded sacred sounds.
Okay. And all of this is something that we're going to be learning in the workshop that you're coming to teach. Is that correct?
No.
No.
Okay. I'm not teaching hidden mind this time round. I'm only teaching bioenergy this time round. They're two separate standalone healing modalities.
Okay. And is that, what does that look like? Is that a full day or a 2-day workshop?
It's a 2-day workshop.
Okay.
Saturday and Sunday. Do you want dates?
I have actually got the dates, yeah. So you'll be in Bulawayo. It's okay, now give me the dates. I've got to the 5th and 6th of August for Bulawayo. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
that's right.
and Harare, the 13th and 14th of August. Are those on a weekend?
No. So in Bulawayo, it's going to be Friday, Saturday, the 5th and 6th, because I've got to be in Metopus for the 8th of the 8th. So it makes that weekend a bit short. And then in Harare, it's the 13th and the 14th, which will be Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, super. All right. So people know what they're in for there, and it's the bioenergy. So what I wanted to ask you is, so what could people expect? So it will clear emotional problems, it could clear physical problems. Okay, and what does that look like? I mean, how is that in your experience? How is that manifested in people? Those shifts and those healings?
So one of the areas that I have specialized in for the last 20 years or so is children on the autistic spectrum. Okay, so often with those children, as we know, they're all hyped up and they can't sit down, they can't relax, they're going like little locomotions. So I get them usually for about 5, maybe 10 minutes if I'm lucky, to stand in front of me while I will work on the energy field and remove and do whatever I need to do. And then once they've had enough, I don't try to tie them to the chair. They can run outside, they can run around, they can go off and do whatever, but I've got their energy is what I call it. I've got their energy, so I can carry on as if they are sitting in the chair or lying on the bed and continue the treatment. I have had quite a few parents phone me on the first night after their first treatment, say, I don't know what you've done to my child, but he is absolutely sitting on the ceiling. He is driving us insane. He will not go to sleep. So it's almost as if initially, the initial pulling out sets them off. They really start to release tremendously. But the next morning, I'll get a phone call from those same parents and say it's remarkable. He is so much more relaxed and calm and quiet. And so that is the most profound feedback that I get from people, is usually autistic children. The other one is people suffering from depression or anxiety. So there's an aspect of craniosacral therapy with bioenergy, because a lot of the handholds that we use on the head and face and spine are based on craniosacral or similar to craniosacral. And we know that touching the head, heart, and spine are very cathartic for all human beings and animals. It just, that loving touch helps to calm down, to calm the parasympathetic nervous system, to get the craniosacral pumps working, get the craniosacral fluid moving, and to dissipate the adrenaline in the people's bodies. So they feel much calmer. Generally, I like to do 3 treatments, 3 bioenergy treatments over 3 consecutive days, which is about an hour a day. That's how the Hidden Mind Protocol works too, to get 3 treatments in. And by the 3rd treatment, people are saying, I'm sleeping so much better. Those that were insomnics are able to have a really good night's sleep. The energy being removed, the old energy being removed, helps to calm them so that they're able to rest. Because with all this adrenaline pumping, they can't actually get into that beta state where they can go to sleep. So that is the, and then often they'll say, my appetite is back. I'm able to eat properly and to relax and to just start enjoying the normal things in life, you know, my family, going for a walk, etc. My mentor, Tom, equates bioenergy to servicing your car. He says it's like when you send your car in for service, they take out the old oil and they put in new oil filters and air filters. They replace the spark plugs. They get everything nice and renewed. So when you get into your car again, it's good to go for another 15,000 kilometers, and it's got lots of vommer to go and do what you're doing. What we do as human beings is we drive our cars, these physical bodies, into the ground without servicing them. So it's like a service, it's like an overhaul.
Okay, all right. So it'll bring back a bit more harmony, open up the channels so that you can do the healing can happen.
Yes.
I just want
the life force energy.
Add to what you said earlier about the kids. You know, you'll do the treatment on them, and then that night you've got all hell to play. And I find that a lot, especially when it comes to men, once you do like releasing work, sometimes it can be explosive. You know, it can release in an explosion, not in a nice, gentle float away, you know, oh, now I'm all calm and balanced. Yeah, and I found that often that very night there will be some kind of a tantrum happening, and then poof, then it's done and everything's fine. Yeah.
Well, we call that a healing crisis, and I sometimes have that in my clinic when I'm working on somebody. They can be fine, they'll arrive, and then suddenly halfway through the treatment they will burst into tears, or I've had 1 or 2 people that actually wanted to faint or fall over. It's just that there's so much blocked energy. It's like blocked pipes, and as it's coming out, it's, you know, all that stuff that's been suppressed, that hasn't been looked at, is now having to be felt.
Okay, right.
Of course, another thing, Tania, that bioenergy is very good for, is proven to be very good for, is treating the after effects of the COVID vaccine. Many people are suffering from this slow COVID and experiencing a lot of body pain, joint pain, headaches, upset tummies, that sort of thing. And we found that bioenergy treatments are helping to relieve a lot of those symptoms, and trusting that it's also removing a lot of the mRNA from the system. I do suggest to clients that they support that with the zinc, the vitamin C, the vitamin D protocol, drink the pine needle tea, and just have a support on the physical side too. But it's proven to be very good for that.
And, you know, it's quite interesting because a lot of people who are very pro, you know, the whole COVID vaccination thing, a lot of those people I've come across are, for themselves, they're self-realizing that, you know, maybe this wasn't such a great idea. You know, not that, luckily I haven't met any that are in too much fear about it, but I'm sure that a lot of people have had that realization and are in fear. So that's very useful information for people. And what else can you tell us about the bioenergy? What else is it good for?
Well, the other aspect is when you talk about fear and anxiety, I get a lot of clients suffering from anxiety, and those clients are getting younger and younger every year, right down to primary school, kindergarten children. And I think it has a lot to do with mainstream media and what they've put out into the world with regards to COVID-19 and the masks and all this sort of thing. There's been a lot of fear created. So bioenergy helps to remove that fear. It helps to relax people so that they can sleep, because if you can get a good night's sleep, you are much calmer in the morning. It helps with things like headaches, migraines, depression. Depression is a big one also in our world today. As people have lost their jobs, the whole world has changed completely.
Absolutely.
And bioenergy helps to remove that depression, that big black cloud sitting over your head. What we actually do with the craniosacral aspect of bioenergy, the handholds on the skull, on the cranial bones, it can actually move those bones, physically move those bones. So one of the feedbacks I get from people quite often is that they get headaches, they get pain in their jaw, in the back of their head, and various parts in their teeth. As things are moving, they're shifting back into optimal position. And when I dowse using kinesiology to find out what created that pain in the first place, it often goes back to birth shock. So when we're born, our cranial plates are not always in their correct positions due to traumatic births, maybe C-section births, forceps delivery, suction delivery. And bioenergy miraculously puts all of those bones, the cranial plates, back into position again. So as it shifts, it can create a little bit of pain, but people mustn't worry about that. Again, it's part of the healing crisis. And when that pain goes away, they are as right as rain. So one of the things we found with the hidden mind protocol, if the left and right temporal bones here in the skull are out, it almost always indicates a chronic depression.
Oh, really? And that's a lifelong thing. I mean, people then have that for the rest of their lives.
Until they have a bioenergy treatment and they don't ever have it again.
So very interesting thing that you say that. My daughter just had a baby, okay? So she is now 7 weeks old. But she was very, thank you, and she was very stricken with colic. So I did an emotional code healing on her to try and, because it just makes sense that everybody has birth trauma. Everyone. I mean, it can't really be a very pleasant thing for them. So, and I just said to her, I don't know why doctors don't, they're quite happy to recommend a chiropractor now. This is a big shift. A lot of doctors and pediatricians do recommend chiropractors for newborns. But what about, sending them to somebody like yourself, or, a healer that can do clearing just to heal the birth trauma and the in utero traumas, whatever they were. I just think, that would just be such a good idea for everyone to get that done. But anyway, another thing I wanted to ask you about the bioenergy. What about on a spiritual level, like spiritual attacks and things like that?
Yeah, that's very, very common at the moment. So while I'm doing a bioenergy treatment, I will often find entity attachment and remove them. So it's something that I'm able to see. So I just pop them off and send them off into another dimension off this planet. And that can also make people feel very anxious. It can damage our auric fields, and our auric fields are our natural protection around our body. And if the auric fields are off, we're going to be off. So all of that is put back into place again.
And another thing over the years I found with certain clients is that if they come with depression, very often that depression is not theirs. It's something that's now come and attached themselves, not necessarily something evil, but maybe just something that's hanging around that, is looking for comfort, or, something like that, that very often, especially suicidal thoughts, are
Well, we
very
call
often
them,
not yours.
no, they're not ours. We call them parasites of the human energy field. So like a bilharzia or a tick or any sort of parasite that would live off your life force energy, that's what entities are. And they can completely change somebody's personality, making somebody grumpy, nasty, snappy, saying things that they would never normally say, and also the depression, the anxiety, not being able to cope are very common.
Okay.
And then once they're well entrenched, then they create addictions. So where there's addiction, there's always entity attachment.
No, I think I'm well aware of that too. I just want to also now backtrack to something that you said earlier about the about coming and doing the work on the land. Once you come and you do all of that, the energy work for the land, again, what would that then look like? How does that manifest? What does that feel to the collective, to us? Like, how do we experience that? Okay, people that are maybe a little bit more in tune with the energies might be able to straight away sense a difference. But in the actual collective, what kind of things can we expect to see and feel and experience?
I think it varies from person to person, but I think certainly during this COVID period that we've been through, I think there's very few people that will say that they have not been affected by the very intense energies that we've been experiencing on the planet. Tiredness, lack of concentration, lack of memory. I mean, sometimes I can't remember what I did an hour ago, or at the end of the day, I think, goodness, what did I do today? And I can't remember. That sort of wiping out of your memory. Time shifts. So what I discovered at Great Zimbabwe last year is that Great Zimbabwe is a time portal. And one can actually levitate at Great Zimbabwe. It's like you're moving from this timeline into another. And we've been experiencing timelines collapsing over the last few months, believe it or not. Tomorrow is a very significant day because it's 7/7. It's another portal that's open. And we're going through more and more of these things. So for people generally out there who are not sensitive to energies, they may not experience anything, but for the rest of us, we are getting hammered with things coming at us from all directions. Africa is waking up, and Africa is definitely, you can feel the vibrancy, you can feel the pulse of Africa, that she's starting to become enlivened, and especially when you're standing in these sacred sites, you can feel it coming up from under your feet. The frequency is very much higher than it's ever been before. It's quite exhausting.
I'm sure. Well, just in our daily lives, I'll come across, let's just say, in a week, I'm feeling a little bit dizzy, and I don't know why I'm feeling dizzy. I can't tell you how many people that I'll meet that week who'll say, I feel weird, I feel wobbly, I feel dizzy, and then I know, okay, this is not me, something that I've eaten, I'm coming down the flu, it's not me, it is happening all around. Or it could be, gee, I've just been so exhausted, so tired. It just becomes, even the people who are not sensitive will be complaining of the same things. But maybe it's just too much in my mind, but I'll just look at that and say, okay, well, then obviously there's some kind of ground energy coming up, or something coming, some kind of gamma rays or something coming in from, where we are in the solar system. So yeah, no, I think that's interesting. So tomorrow, I think it might be well, by the time this interview goes out, it'll be way gone tomorrow. But I think interesting that we just take note of these high energy days, as you call them.
Yeah, and it seems like every day is a high energy day in the last year or so.
Every day is a high energy day, indeed it is. So Okie dokie. Now, you will also be doing one-on-ones. You're going to have a bit of time to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what,
Okay.
what can that look like for people?
Okay, so I'm a channel, so I do channeled readings, and they are very much, it's very unique for each person. So there is no particular format that's followed, because I never know who's going to arrive. I'm basically channeling people's ancestors, their spirit guide team. But also recently in the last year or so, I'm finding that there's a lot more very high-powered beings arriving. Mother Mary, beloved Jesus, Master Katumi, Almoya, Mary Magdalene, all sorts of really amazing beings. And often those channeled readings also turn into a bit of a healing, a treatment, a blessing. But they're very much about helping people to move forward, ask questions about, guidance for the future, maybe alleviate some anxiety about what's happening in their lives, and also to connect to loved ones who've crossed over on the other side. We have lots of loved ones coming through. They're usually very uplifting. I work very closely with the golden winged lions of Lyra, who are the custodians of this planet now. There's 8 golden winged lions, and they often come through. They are directly related to the white lions that started incarnating in the early 70s. And they are also becoming very prevalent, and it's very auspicious for us Africans because they are African animals and they're holding space here in Africa. So again, they are very much part of this awakening of Africa, this African energy that's getting worked up now.
But you're saying that they're the guardians of the planet now.
Yes, they took over from the 12 dragons of Mu on the 21st of December 2020. As who the 12 dragons of Mu were the custodians of this planet since its inception, and they handed the baton over to the 8 golden winged lions of Lyra, who have now taken over for the new golden age that's birthing now. So, and it's very significant that the white lions started incarnating in Southern Africa. Oh, I'm all goosebumps as I say that.
When did the golden lions take over, the lions?
On the 20th of December, 2020.
2020.
They took over. Yeah.
So I mean, if you say that now, there's been a regime change, what you could say, so to speak, on planet Earth. So all of this madness and craziness that we are experiencing, and division and minority groups needing to have a say and that kind of thing, is that all part of it? Is that the clearing out? Is that the changing of the guard? What is that all about?
Very much. And we're living through end times prophecies. If you're a Bible person, the book of Revelations, it's all predicted there very much what we're going through, that the old has to be destroyed. The old has to come crumbling down before the new can be created. And that's what we're seeing. Like Babylon had to come crumbling down. And we are here as the creators of the new earth. Eckhart Tolle's book on the new earth speaks about that. So we mustn't focus too much on the negative, because it's happening, it's done pretty much. We've got to focus on the positive and what we want to create and what this new earth is going to look like. And the 8 golden winged lions of Lyra are here to assist us, as well as the ascended beings, because it's very much part of Saint Germain's mission to assist humanity at this time. There's a divine purpose behind everything that's happening. So I'm back for the Lion's Gate, the 8th of the 8th. It's all very relevant.
Okay. And but how long does it take for the changing of the guard? How long can we expect our Earth to be in craziness?
That's the million-dollar question. I think only God knows the answer to that. But my feeling is that it will shift in the twinkling of an eye, as it says in the Bible, when the group consciousness gets to tipping point. And we still have an awful lot of people that haven't awoken yet. So when we get to that point, and I feel it's very close. You know, if you look at what's happening in the world.
But I have heard said very often that it doesn't, you don't even need a high percentage. You don't need 50% of the population. Essentially, you could have 10% of the global population all on this page, you know, looking at a positive outcome, and that can influence the whole, the greater majority. A little bit like that 100 monkey theory. You know, where a few of them were doing a certain behavior, and then just suddenly everybody started doing it, because it gets into like the unified field or the collective consciousness, not necessarily on this third dimensional level. Yeah,
I do agree with that. But when you look at what's going on in the sort of 3D world, if you look at the politicians and that sort of thing, there's definitely they've got to shift before things can start really happening, although there's a lot happening behind the scenes, much more than I think we realize. So we've just got to stay positive.
I think so too. But you know, when you say that, a lot happening behind the scenes, and I do follow all of that, as I know you do as well. I feel that possibly we need a little bit of encouragement, a little bit more evidence, or just a couple of positive things happening just to fuel us, you know, and keep us going. I know it's all about faith and focus, you know, just focus on the outcome that you want, have faith that that's going to happen. But to be honest, Diana, I have turned away a lot from this sort of third dimensional, you know, the politics. And if it gets 5 minutes of my day, it's a lot. Because I find it too disturbing and too, how can I say, maybe I'm just not mature enough. I'm not mature enough to handle that kind of chaos, you know. So I rather just, happy place, you know, just do what I like to do in my life and get on with it.
But I'm hearing that from a lot of people, Tania, that they've disengaged from mainstream media. They don't switch on their TVs anymore. They've cancelled their Netflix subscription. And they're even starting to break away from social media because they're fed up because nobody knows who to believe anymore.
That's right.
And I think we're getting to that point. So Spirit has said to us a long time ago, it's about us standing up and being the change we want to see, not waiting for some politician to change, because he's not going to.
No, that's right.
We've got to stand up and be accounted for. And when I look around at the amazing beings that there are doing incredible things on this planet, that is really inspiring. You know, lawyers, doctors, all kinds of beings. There's many of them here in South Africa that I'm just in awe of. The courage and the self-sacrifice that they've gone through to do the things that they're doing. I don't really want to name names, but that's why I say there's amazing things going on in the background. And I have a feeling that a lot of what's going on is going to be won in the courts. There's a lot of significant court cases going on in the world. So, but we've got to be the change we want to see. And that I see with the land healing work that I do, when I go out into these sacred sites and I'm there with the intention of doing the work, I'm never quite sure what the work is until I get there. And then the beloveds arrive and I was like, hello. And they just, you know, it just starts happening and things start moving. And but they need us in embodiment to do this. So more people need to start doing that.
The other thing I wanted to mention while we're talking about energy and that, I see CERN was turned on again yesterday after 3 years. So going to be interesting to see what kind of energetic things, because I think that must have a huge impact on frequencies, any frequency going on, you know, in the world. So that's going to be quite interesting to see. I think those kind of things maybe make your job a lot harder.
Well, we'll see tomorrow night. There's a lot of controversial about that it was originally a black hat agenda and the white hats have taken over.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, it's one of those things we don't know.
I don't know either. And it's something I think none of us will know. But still, I just kind of feel like, let's not mess around with things that could be potentially quite dangerous. And as you said, it works on so many levels. I worry more about the sort of interdimensionality of things, and what sort of portals do you open, when you turn on that kind of technology, which a lot of people believe that's what it was designed for, really. It's multifaceted. It's not just to find a boson Higgs or, particle theory and things like that. Anyway, so time will tell, but I just think, so let's just keep our eyes and ears open from now. Diana, we are going to have to now wrap this up. We just mentioned to people that we did do an interview a year ago. Diana, you are our first guest, second time round. So that's exciting.
Yes.
And I'm going to put the link in the description below so that people, if they're interested, can go back and watch, because you do talk there a lot about the hidden, what is it, the hidden mind as well, and things that you're doing. And I'll put all the links, the dates. Let's just repeat those for people, the dates of your visit.
Okay, so in Bulawayo it will be, I'm arriving on the 1st to the 6th of August in Bulawayo, and I'll be doing Bioenergy Level 1 training on the 5th and 6th of August at Stillhaven. And then I'll be arriving in Harare on the 9th of August and until the 14th, but I'll be teaching Level 1 Bioenergy on the 13th and 14th. So the other days I'll be available for one-on-ones, whether it's entity clearings, channeled readings, healings, whatever it is. We generally try to decide what that's going to be after I've had a chance to chat to the client, unless they specifically know what they want.
Okay. But from now on, I mean, people can start getting hold of you to investigate, to find out. Okay.
The best way is via WhatsApp.
Yeah, via WhatsApp. Okay, I'll put the link below. So, Diana, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for coming back to Zim. We really appreciate all the work that you do there. And I look forward to seeing you. I'm sure that I will see you on this trip. I'll be here in Zim, so that'll be great.
Lovely.
And so to everybody else, thank you so much for watching. Please like this, please share this, because you know that there's always people out there who are really into this stuff, even if you're not yourself. And I look forward to seeing you all the next time round. So thank you, Diana, and bye.
God bless. Bye.
Bye.